Boys. Yeah. What's good, y'all boys? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Boss Enosch. Once again, you know the name, you know the face. Comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell for more content when I drop it. Today we're gonna watch a classic video that some people haven't seen. The video that made Jordan Peterson famous. I watched this a long time ago, and it came up again on my my homepage. So I feel like, you know, maybe I should react to this and bring it back, just so people can see where it all started. All right.
Peterson, do you have any comments on the Nazi presence at your protest?
Oh, and just for people, if people didn't know, Jordan Peterson was a college professor in Canada.
The presence of Nazis and white supremacists assaulting people at your protest. Do you have any comment on that?
Yeah, I don't like Nazis.
Then why are you?
Why were they here?
Well, how can I answer
Are there views in alignment with yours? At some point, you
I
have to
think
realize.
that's a foolish question. Look, if you want to know what my views are,
I've watched all of your videos. Yes.
Including
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
then why would you ask such a question?
Because this is my interpretation of your videos.
Apparently,
That's
I
not-
wanted
All of the people who arranged the protest against you watched all of your videos.
It's like, do you want to
I have
disavow?
150 videos on YouTube.
No, your
You're
lectures, which sparked the debate.
Okay.
Do
I
you
have
want to
150.
disavow the support?
Could you let
of
me
white-
talk to her for a moment?
Don't call me that, please.
So, I have 150 lectures on YouTube. There's
She said, "Don't call me that." He said, "Her." Was that? Do you not identify as a woman?
500 hours of my views.
Do you really
If
think that
wanna
you're
find
worth
out
all
what
of
they
that
were-
time?
So look, I will answer your question, okay? I've studied Nazism for a very long time. It's been 4 decades, and I understand it very well. And I can tell you that there's some awful people lurking in the corners, and they're ready to come out. And if the radical left keeps pushing the way
That
it's
sounds
pushing,
very much like a
they're
threat.
going to come.
That sounds very much
That's
like
not
a
a
threat.
threat.
That sounds very much like a threat. Would you like to disavow the physical violence,
That's why it's so hard to talk to some of these people, bro. Because you just tell them what it is. Oh, that sounds like a threat, nigga. What? Where do you get that from? What's wrong with you, bro? That's why it's so hard to have these conversations with people. You still gotta have them though, because it's important for people to see. People who don't really regularly think about these topics, it's important for them to see it. You know, and that's why certain people on the right and the left try to silence. Maybe I'm biased, so I'm not gonna say mostly the left, but they try to silence certain conversations because they don't want to see any seeds of ideas, any seeds of contention, any seeds of questioning to grow. They don't want those seeds to grow.
Could you try again?
You know, just like in One Piece, bruh. Anytime somebody question the world government, what do? It's time for a great cleansing. They're gonna get rid of any type of dissent. It's my audio, bro.
in your name? Would you
Okay.
like to disavow that violence?
Yes.
So you wish that didn't happen, and you want to.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to post this online that you would like people to not to be more accommodating of trans people and people of color at your events in future.
I would
I'm
like
a
there
person
to
of
be
color.
no
Listen,
violence.
I'm a person of color, and I felt very accommodating here. I felt like my voice. Thank you
I'm
very much.
also former Muslim, and I feel like this guy is
I'm
the
a person
best.
of color.
I
There are
love
many
his
Muslims
videos.
You wanted
That's funny. That's the thing they try to do. They always try to make it seem like, oh, you're this, you're that, you belong to this group. This is how you're supposed to think. Black people, white people, black people, white people, Asian people, Spanish people, Middle Eastern people, they're not a monolith, okay? Women, men are not a monolith. Not everybody believes the same thing.
disavow. You wanted to disavow, and this is the disavow. I am not an advocate of violence. I'm speaking out the way I'm speaking out because I think this is a route to no violence. And violence is lurking. And you can say that sounds like a threat.
There was
It's
no
not a
violence at
threat.
our protest, though. There was violence at your protest. So what does that say about our
It's
views?
not my
That's
protest.
violence.
You know, asking me continually freighted questions isn't very helpful if you actually want to have a dialogue. You have no idea if I'm your enemy. You have no idea about me.
You won't
know
use my
nothing.
pronouns, so I'm pretty sure you're my enemy. Yes.
Yeah, well, I know you think that, but I don't believe that using your pronouns is going to do you any good in the long run. I think it'll do quite the contrary.
What?
Is that your medical
Wait,
opinion?
what? Is that your medical opinion? Like, you
I mean,
are
I
aware
don't-
that non-binary people are valid in the American Psychological
This isn't about
Association.
non-binary
Is that your opinion?
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's about non-binary pronouns.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
No, it's not.
I'm saying that that's
Did
what
you
I'm
come to the
about.
rally? Were you there when I spoke?
I've been here for this whole thing.
Okay, well, I don't know that. It's a genuine question. Look, I think that's what's happening is that we're pushing over a line we shouldn't cross. The newest legislation is requiring people to use.
But you are aware that that's being put in place.
I think that's what was happening in Canada. They were like trying to put in a bill. I think, I don't know if it went through or not. I don't live in Canada, so I don't know. Where if you didn't use somebody's pronouns, you could get in trouble, and that's like teetering the line of going over free speech, bro. Because you have a fucking gender dysphoria and you feel like you're something else, and if I don't refer to you to what you think you are in your head, I need to go to jail. What are you talking about? That's stupid, and it's a slippery slope. I don't care what none of them leftist liberal, intellectuals think about that. That's just what it is, bro. That's why they hate Jordan Peterson.
So that we can't get fired. We need to be written into the Canada human rights legislation, or we can be fired for our gender identity. Well, then why did you make a fucking video about it? I've been denied housing as a trans person. These rights would protect me.
Denied housing?
I've been denied housing.
From the state or for the open market? So have you been denied housing, like, from the government?
It's illegal either way if we had human rights.
From the government?
Or
have you tried to get a house like everybody else and they said, no, you're weird, you can't work? No, if the state has done that, that's a problem. But if someone doesn't want to live with you, that's their right.
They said, no, you're trans. Really so no, if I had human rights, that wouldn't have fucking happened.
Yeah, you're weird. I don't want to live with schizophrenic
As far as I'm concerned, that's a terrible thing. It's too bad that...
So like, relax, bro. Relax. Relax. You're weird. I mean... But no, relax, bro. Relax.
So you don't want us to have protections in the human rights bill that will allow me to have employment, allow me to have housing security, allow me to have medical care. That's what this is about. It's not about infringing on your rights or making you learn a new fucking pronoun.
I don't think that's what it's about. What evidence do you have that attempting to transform the way that people use pronouns is going to produce a positive effect on
Because
society?
are you aware that there is a trans boy who killed himself in psychiatric care recently because he was continuously being misgendered by his care workers?
And that is my precise problem.
And there have been multiple.
Listen, if someone's gonna kill themselves because of that, they was already ready to kill themselves. Okay, they was already ready to do that to themselves, to unalive themselves. It wasn't because of being misgendered. It wasn't because of the wrong pronouns. No, there's already something that was amiss, something that was wrong with him, unfortunately.
Reported instances of trans people killing themselves because they are not being integrated into society. We are not looking for special treatment. We are looking to be able to integrate ourselves into society. And if you refuse to refer to us by our pronouns, which is not allowed to ask, singular they pronouns go all the way back to Shakespeare. It's not a new thing. If you refuse to let us integrate ourselves into society, you create alienation that results in suicide. We are in a suicide epidemic right now.
So she is saying that because people don't openly, off rip accept like the different gender ideology stuff, it's causing people to have suicide, to kill themselves. So it's because of people's reaction to them, and not because of what they have going on in their head already.
What are you contributing to this as a psychologist?
Man, you're almost impossible to talk to. You're so full of rhetoric that it's impossible to listen to you. I would be more than happy to listen to you.
Yeah,
I was devoid of rhetoric. And I don't really think I am a rhetorician. Just so you know that. And it's very hard to listen to you. I mean, it's very hard to attend to you
because
you rattle on with your ideological speech.
It's not ideological. It's personal. That's what
It's not personal. You haven't said a personal thing.
I'm talking about something that affects my community.
It's just that when you say the things that you say, it tends, even if you didn't mean it to, it attracts people like neo-Nazis and fascists because they see an avenue in what you're saying to do what they want. Even if that's not what you meant, they see an avenue in your in the idea of like a more abstract form of free speech. They see an avenue in that to continue to spread their hateful ideology and to make more people hateful. So that's why the Nazis come here. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that's why that was.
I'm perfectly aware of that.
I have a comrade.
Just because someone who's not a good person agrees with your ideas, what does that mean? that don't mean that I'm promoting them to do whatever if they're like a Nazi, right? It's not mean I'm promoting Nazism. No, I'm not promoting them. They just happen to agree. Just like there's, you know, like, bro, like, let's say if there's a serial killer and he agrees he's a leftist or whatever, or a liberal or a Democrat. Am I gonna blame Democrats because this serial killer agrees with you? Yes or no? No. No. And they use whatever their ideas are to justify what they do? No. No. No.
National question.
Okay.
I won't get emotional with you. So, who is this legislation harming? Who is
Harming anybody who wants to use their own words.
So, in what capacity? Be specific.
Look, it's important that people are able to use their own words.
Okay.
Because that's how we think. And if
So-
the government starts legislating how we think, and
So
how
if
we
I
speak,
wanted
we're
to
gonna
call
be
you
like,
she,
hey, look, are you gonna let me say-
no, I'm playing off of what you're saying. If I wanted to call you she and her and miss, because
I
that's
don't
my
care
freedom of
what you
speech,
call me.
and if everyone just called you that all the time, and that was the only thing,
Call me. Can't you tell?
I think that you don't care because you've never had to face that, and it's a common trend among people who have never had to face like transgender related discrimination that you think it's not a big deal because you don't have to deal
I
with
didn't say I
it.
didn't think it was a big deal. I said I didn't care if people called me that.
Public institutions. But it does prevent us from accessing healthcare. And it does prevent us from accessing other services.
I'm not arguing about your rights.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. These things about our rights.
Legislation for trans
I'm sorry. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you realize that right now, if you were to kill a trans person, because only for the sole reason that they're trans, that would not be considered a hate crime. Sure, they could be convicted of murder, but not of a hate crime. And that's what this
I don't
bill.
see what
that's
this-
what.
what-
That's
Actually,
what
back in the
this.
States, they can use a trans panic defense
Yeah,
in almost
yeah.
all of the United States and get off by claiming temporary insanity because they were freaked out by the trans person.
I am not claiming for a moment that people who don't fit into standard and traditional sexual categories or sexual identity categories
This is about
don't
gender
face
equality.
all sorts of trouble. They do. I just don't think that this is the way to fix it. In fact, I think
Do you not a law that legislates protections from discrimination for trans people?
not
Is there
this
a way to, you do not think that?
That's right. I don't think.
Have you
that's
read
what
the
I mean.
laws are intentionally worded?
Bring as many
Most
people-
laws involving
cause
human
as
rights.
much trouble to as many people as possible.
What would we gain? What would we gain from
There's a
that?
conspiracy of
I didn't say it was a conspiracy.
You think there is a concentrated effort behind these bills in order to specifically make the lives of people worse, and that's why we create human rights legislation to make it.
I think
harder
that
for
people.
to
I
live
think
their
that people
lives.
often do things to make other people's lives worse. Don't you?
Well, clearly, as an example of this rally.
I am probably the most fervent anti-statist you will ever meet. I am an anarchist, and I do not believe that anyone who writes legislation has the interest of anybody but themselves and their special interest groups at heart. So don't come at me saying that I want to suck off the nipple of the government, okay? Because that's not who I am. What I'm interested is in that people I love.
Canada seems like a scary place. I'm not going there.
Are being assaulted, are being killed, are being discriminated against, are being kicked out onto the street, are freezing to death in the winter because
I'm
they're being
against
denied
that too.
shelter.
And look, you know, that stuff isn't right. You know what I'm saying? People treat somebody a different type of way just because of how they present themselves. Even if it's weird to you, even if it's strange to you, even if it doesn't make sense, that doesn't mean you come at them and try to make their life harder, okay? That doesn't mean, let's say if you're a medical professional, you try to, you know, restrict their access to medical help. It doesn't mean you or if you're, like this person, the other person said, whoever's on the camera was saying how, oh, she was able to get housing or something. I mean, I don't know the whole story, but if that person was denied housing because of their identity or whatever, that doesn't make sense either. That's not right. So I agree with all that. But you cannot force people to call you a different name, okay? Because the fundamental idea that you were born in the wrong body and that therefore someone needs to call you the opposite of your gender, you can't force people to do that because that, you know, you can't force people to do that, bro. You can't. That doesn't mean you're not a human being. That doesn't mean you got to try to justify your existence or whatever, or your existence needs to be questioned. But
And I feel.
But pronouns are too much to ask for you to show solidarity towards those
Can I just have a
people.
moment?
Sorry.
Look, we agree that this is a thing that's happening. We agree that it's a reprehensible thing that's happening.
Okay, sure. Let's agree on that.
I mean, I don't think that would be controversial to most people. I mean, apparently,
I agree.
apparently some
People
people
here
think.
it was.
Apparently, to some people, we're freaks because we can't have families or whatever. But what okay, whatever. Maybe that's not something you agree with. I don't know.
I think it's just like, I mean, it's just like with anything, bro. Whenever there's a new, like, counter culture, you could say, or there's people that like push the line, you know, like how rock and roll was and metal and screamo was back then. You know, regular people, they seen that as like, what the fuck? What is this? You know what I'm saying? It looks weird. It doesn't look conventional. It doesn't look like how you're supposed to look. You know, dudes put all that makeup on their face and fingernails and screaming, ah! You know, going crazy, devil worshiping, shit like that. This is like that new age rock and roll type shit where people, they want to, you know, they feel like they don't fit into the conventional lines, you know, conventional male, conventional female in society. You know, they feel different. They feel like an outcast. They feel like an outsider. You know what I'm saying? Nothing wrong with that. You can present yourself however you want to. That's what the world is about. It's free will. You can do what you want to do to an extent. So that's why when people see them, it's like, you know, it's like the guy with the long hair who kind of almost appearing more feminine, you know, to a regular, average, conventional person. It's like, you know, why is he looking like that for? You know what I mean? And that's an understandable reaction. Because you don't fit the conventional confines of, you know, regularness, average person. And that's not a bad thing, just is what it is. Now, still, you gotta treat everybody with respect. You know, I'm not gonna treat you no type of way because you look different. I'm gonna treat you a type of way based on how you respond to me or how you act towards me. You know what I'm saying? How you act in general.
I'm not going to put words in your mouth now.
I agree
What I fail to understand is how you honestly feel in your...
Still, a lot of things is weird, though. I think a dude painting his fingernails is weird. I think a dude in a dress is weird. Sorry. You know, I'm allowed to think that. Whether you think it's right or wrong.
Your expert opinion as both an educator, as an educated person, that not calling somebody by a pronoun that has been used to refer to individual people.
Legislating it. It's legislating it as a necessity that I have an objection to.
Okay, so if there was this legislation was not on the table, if this legislation fails, let's say, if this is removed, you would be totally fine referring to me with they them pronouns.
Probably not they and them.
Probably not they and them. Why is that?
Well, because I don't think it's a tenable solution.
I don't think it's to what?
I don't think it's a solution to the problem that you're trying to solve. I mean, it's not. Look, it's not that easy to track that. I know that's how you.
You were literally saying
you can make up a word and make that a child's name, and you would refer to them by that name. Why is it different for a pronoun?
Because it's a name.
Because it's different.
It's a name.
Just as you were just
asked.
It's different because it's a pronoun for a lot of reasons. So I mean, one of the reasons it's different is that pronouns turn out to be very difficult to change. They're a closed linguistic.
Which is why we're using they them pronouns, which has historical continuity.
Yeah,
it is in the English language. It's in the Oxford English Dictionary.
Years and years and years. It's nothing new.
As an educator, okay, hold on. Sorry, yeah.
You were asked, would you refer to me using they them pronouns? You said no.
You can tell that man is waiting for this shit to be over with. Like, bro, get on my face, please, bro.
I wouldn't. When asked why, you said, because I don't think it's a solution. When I brought up then it was basic respect and so on, what you said was, oh, I wouldn't do it if I was like coerced or whatever you said. Somebody literally just asked, would you do this for me? And you said, no, I would not show you that respect. I would not extend that amount of dignity to you.
That's not what I said.
Yes, you said
You said that you would not use they them pronouns for a person.
Nobody
Yes, I did say that.
Nobody asked anything about if I came like with a club and asked you to like use certain pronouns to refer to me.
What makes you
I just asked, would you refer to me if it wasn't for this law and I asked you to refer to me with they them pronouns, would you? And your answer was no.
Not if I was compelled to.
But we're saying if you weren't.
You said no, and then when I started asking you about, you said it wasn't a solution. When you were asked, what is it not a solution to? You said something vague. We said it's about basic respect, and then you said not if I was compelled to. So no, when you were just asked, as a matter of respect, in fact, would you refer to a trans person who asked you to use they them pronouns, a pronoun which has a several hundred-year historical...
But that's not what we're talking about.
Yes, it is, because it's legislation.
We're saying if it wasn't legislation.
It's not legislation. I've got to stop, guys. There's too many of you.
Okay, one simple question.
I've had enough. Sorry, I can't do this.
One simple question.
No, I'm done.
I thought we were statistics.
Yeah, that nigga's ready to get out of there, bro. Because there's just surrounded him, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't
If
exist.
a trans person asked you, would you please refer to me by they and them pronouns, would you refer to them by those pronouns?
Might depend on how they ask.
So no.
Why do you have the authority to determine whether...
I think because he's not answering the question for real, okay? We can see that. He's not answering the question. I think he was still probably trying to figure out how he felt about the answer, or how he felt about the question. Like, would he do that? If someone asked me to call him something else, would I call him that? If he were to call him that, that means he legitimizes the idea that you could be born in the wrong body. And so, you know, calling them legitimizes that. Calling them that whatever preferred pronoun legitimizes that. So I think he was still trying to figure that out. And, you know, towing the line between that. And he was getting overwhelmed. And probably tired. Because I think it was out there for a minute.
Why
do I have the authority to determine what I say? What kind of question is that?
Why do you have the authority? Let me finish. Why do you have the authority to determine whether or not an individual is worthy of you using their pronouns? Like, if I asked you, would you please use they, them pronouns for me? What?
It would depend on what I thought of your motivation.
What hoops do you want us to jump through?
Those are my pronouns. Those are my
There's no motivation.
No, I know. No one ever has any motivation.
We're trying to survive. Politics are a product of our lives and us trying to live in this world. We're not trying to live in this world as a product of our politics. I was apolitical before I came out as trans. I got into politics because I needed to survive, to advocate against people like you, no offense. I have one quick question. Okay, so they, them pronouns are written into the Oxford English Dictionary, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It's actually the word of the year this year. And it does have historical continuity all the way back to Shakespeare. It is objectively an English word, singular they pronouns, grammatically correct. Do you think that you can choose to not respect something that is in the English language as a professor, as an academic?
That's what they do, bro. They get their way into people in general, not specifically LGBTQ people, but people in general, people of the genders. They get their way into positions of power, right? Or they're able to convince people in those positions to change certain things so that they can have that in their corner. Well, see, look, it's in the Oxford Dictionary. See, it's the word of the year. See? Well, what is the agenda? What is the agenda behind that? You know what I mean? That's their ideology. That's why it's there. Not because it's a universally accepted thing. For a lot of stuff in society, we have to come to a baseline point that we all agree on. Okay? This is obviously something that we don't all agree on. No matter how hard they're trying to make it seem as so, we don't all agree on these things, bro. Even if liberal leftist people have a hold on the culture, have a hold on Hollywood, you know what I'm saying? Because the left has always been like the side for, you know, for change, you know, embracing change. Change is a good thing, you know. It's okay. And I agree, change is a good thing, right? That's how we grow. That's how we evolve, because we change. You know what I'm saying? But there is such a thing as change that's not good. There is such a thing as, you know, there is value in some conservative ideas. There is value in, let's say, I'm not saying tradition, but there is value in, you know, the stuff that already works. You know, the baseline. But there's also room for change. I think the problem nowadays is that people on the left or liberals or whatever, they want the floodgates open for everything. Okay? And not everything is a good thing. Not every change is a good change.
That you are going to that you're
absolutely. I am choosing.
But you're ignoring rules of the English language to go out of your way to disrespect students.
That's your opinion, and I'm not going.
It is my opinion.
To disrespect students.
We're saying it's disrespectful to
our. You don't get to.
All right, that's it. That was an interesting blast from the past. That video was from how long ago? That video was from, well, I'm not even sure how long ago it was. This person uploaded it last year, but this is from a couple years ago. Probably like 2016, 2017 type of time. Do you think the world has changed that much from then to now? Or are we still in the same fight and it's gotten worse? Like always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Every view matters. I love y'all. Thank you.